Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's practice is going to be easy hip and hamstring opening. It'll be about a 10 to 15 minute class. It's all going to be movements that if you're an athlete, if you do a lot of running, bicycling, hiking, if you lift a lot using your lower body, we're going to be doing a lot of different movements that are just going to help to open up some of those tighter areas in your legs. For today, just please make sure you have 2 blocks. That would be helpful. If you don't, that's okay. And a blanket as well. Again, if you don't have them, it's okay. You can make do with whatever you have around or available to you. We're going to get started actually in down dog today. So blocks, you can use them or keep them off to the side. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Tuck the toes and begin to lift your hips up and back, come into downward facing dog. Now, first down dog, bend the knees enough so that you can lift your sitting bones up and then pull your ribs in, keep pulling your hips back in space. Let's take 2-3 breaths here as you start to settle in. Spread the fingers nice and open and push down through the inner palms as you just turn the biceps and the inner elbows forward towards the front of your mat. And then feel like you can pull your 2 thighs apart from one another. That's going to really wake up the legs a little bit more. Last inhale here. Good. And then exhale. Go ahead and bend your left knee, and you're going to straighten through your right leg. Keep pulling your hips back. So left knee bent, right heel down, maybe even lifting the right toes. Take a breath or 2 here. Keep pushing forward and down through the arms. Last inhale. Good. Exhale, release, come back to center. Again, you can keep the knees bent or you can drive the heels back, whichever you prefer. Bend the right knee, drive the left heel down. Again, try to pull both hips up and back, feel both legs working here. Last inhale. Good. Exhale back to a neutral position with the legs in down dog. And step your right foot forward. Between the hands, lower the back knee to the floor. Keep your hands framing your right foot. You can have fingertips to the floor or bring your hands to your blocks. Just gently gliding the hips back and forth. Take your left knee a little bit further back. And moving side to side, nice and easy into the hips. Just settling the pelvis down. And maybe even bring your blocks up to a little bit higher setting here. I have pretty tight hamstrings myself, so I love these kinds of practices. So inhale, keep your spine nice and long. As you exhale, reach your hips back. I want to keep the left hip on top of the left knee. Push into the blocks as you reach the chest forward. Just 3 breaths here. Press the right heel down, pull the right hip back. Lengthen the spine. 1 more breath. Good. So we're going to do breath to movement. Bend the front knee, inhale, lengthen, reaching the chest forward. You can lower the blocks a bit. And then exhale, sending the hips back, flex the toes back towards your face. We'll do that twice more. Inhale, bending front knee, let the chest reach forward. Exhale, reaching the hips back, heart lengthens. Good. Inhale, bend into the front knee again. And then this time, keep that right block over to the right. And pull your left thigh. So begin to pull the left thigh forward. Take your left arm and stretch up and over, leaning to that right. Right hand can be down to a block, maybe all the way to the floor. You should feel some space on that left side. Last inhale. Exhale, release. Hands to the floor. Back to down dog. Take a breath in down dog, press your thighs back, pull the feet apart, and left foot forward. Good. Back knee down, ground the fingertips. Walk the right knee a little bit further back. And again, just gently moving side to side. Maybe feel one hip is probably a lot tighter than the other. Just notice it. If you need your blocks, use them. And then send your hips back into that half split Ardha Hanumanasana. So as you press into that left heel, drag it back, reach the chest forward. Just take 2 more breaths here, spreading the toes open, rooting down into the legs. And then breath to movement. Bend the front knee, reaching chest forward. Exhale, sending the hips back. Twice more like that. Just getting a little range of motion incorporated into the exercise. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale. Bend the front knee, reach the chest forward. Good. And then again, left hand can go to a block. Try to keep your left knee on top of your left ankle here. Left hand to a block, drag the right thigh forward, lift up out of the low belly and stretch and reach up through that right arm. Feel the belly draw in and up, ribs draw down, last inhale. Good, and exhale, hands back to the floor. Press it back to downward facing dog. Take a moment in down dog, press into the inner palms, spin the biceps forward. Pull the thighs back and apart. Last inhale. Exhale, bring your right shin forward to pigeon pose. Now it can be really helpful here to take a block underneath that right hip for a little bit more support. Maybe you don't need it, but flex your right foot nice and actively. Lift the chest up, lengthen the spine. And then you're slowly going to begin to hinge forward, but no pressure into the knee. No pressure into the knee joint. Arms can stretch forward. Maybe come onto your forearms. Maybe lowering your forehead to a block. Or if you have a little bit more range of motion, taking the arms all the way forward. So you should feel like as you push into your right outer shin, that you can pull that towards your left knee, and your left knee pulls forward into that, so the hips are facing more forward. Last 3 breaths. Two. And 1. Slowly pressing yourself up. Now we're going to roll onto the right hip, and then taking the left knee on top of the right knee. So I'm going to turn towards you just so you can see what that looks like. And you might need to use your block or blanket to sit up to make this possible for yourself. So my legs are crossed, one on top of the other. Feet are nice and flexed. I like to even pull up against the big toes a little bit. That gives me a feeling of energy wakening up in the legs. And then when you're ready, just folding forward at your hips. Now, you may not go very far, and that's okay. Breathe. Relax your eyes. Notice in your body when you're experiencing tension, maybe especially in the hips right now. How is it that you respond? Can you soften into the experience without judgment? Just noticing, just observing. And watch how the breath interacts with the pose. So when you breathe a little more deeply, you notice that certain sensations arise or certain sensations fall at the same rate as the breath does. Good. Nice and slowly, come on out. And uncross your legs and come back into downward dog. From your downward facing dog, again, push down into the feet and pull the thighs back. Get a little bit more space. Maybe you bend the knees still if the hamstrings are really tight. Low belly lifts in. Bring your left shin forward to pigeon pose, please. And so same thing, left shin can be parallel or it can be slightly angled back towards the right hip. Push down into your hands, lift your spine, lengthen. And again, pull that left outer shin towards the right knee as you lift up out of your low belly, and then slowly begin to lower. You can come down to forearms. You can lower down your forehead to a block if you'd like to. but keep the energy in the legs working. So don't just kind of let it sink down. And so using a block sometimes can be really helpful, just a little bit of support for the left seat. Last 3. Taking big, deep breaths for 2. And 1. Just slowly pressing yourself up. Again, you're just going to roll onto your left hip. Bring your left knee to the center. Take your right knee and bring it on top. Again, if that's way too difficult for you and your knees are somewhere up here, which happens, hips get tight, think about how long it took for your hips to get as tight as they are now. And then go ahead and sit up onto a block if that makes it a little bit easier for you to fold forward. Again, this is it looks from the front. Feet stay flexed, both sit bones are pressing down. I actually like to sit up onto a blanket here, so nice and rooted down. And breathe. There's a tendency for the right hip to kind of rotate forward. Pull the right hip back just a bit. Relaxing your eyes. Muscles around the face, the eyes, jaw. Again, observing the sensations within the body and your response to those sensations. The stronger the response, sometimes the more useful the information. Sometimes. There's always a lesson in each bit of friction that we encounter in a practice like this, where the legs get pretty tight, especially these major muscle groups around the hips, the tiny muscles that support our daily moving. They need a lot of work and a lot of attention on a regular basis. Last full deep breath all the way down into the pelvis. You can lift the torso a little bit taller. And release the legs, come back into your downward facing dog. Again, from your downward facing dog, just bend one knee and then the other, just shifting back and forth a few times. See if there's any more space in the legs as you do that. You walk your hands back to your feet. And again, bend your knees, let your spine tip forward and fold. You can grab the back of the calves, you can grab opposite elbows, just gently lengthening the hamstrings. Just a couple more breaths. Feeling your feet. Try not to grip the toes. Walk the hands back out. Try to keep your feet pressing down, just like this. Keep pressing the feet back and down. As the arms stretch forward into down dog. And then lower knees to the floor. Have a seat. Come onto your backs. And you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. You let the knees kind of just soften wide. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Grabbing a hold of the right knee with the right hand. And then left hand to the left inner thighs, you gently press it down and away. Make some small circles with that right thigh, circling it around the hip socket, hip joint. If this is enough for you, stay right here. If you need a little more, grab the outer edge of your right foot and begin to press your right foot towards the sky with that right knee bent, and then pull straight down against that foot so that the ankle stays right on top of the knee, and the knee is drawing in towards the right armpit. And then gently with that left hand, press down and away towards the left inner knee. Breathing for 3. Draw that right shoulder into the floor of the mat for 2. And 1. Nice and slowly release. Right foot back to the floor. Pause. Just feel the body. Notice the sensations. Second side. Left hand to front of left shin. And then the right hand gently presses the skin on the right inner thigh down towards the inner knee. And begin to move that left thigh bone. Just swirl it around. Find an area that feels like it's a little sticky or it kind of gets stuck. That's a good place to stay. Move in different directions. If this is good for you, you want to stay here, you're welcome to do that. Or intensify the sensation. You grab the outside edge of the left foot. I like to even bring my thumb to the inside of the pinky here. And then pulling straight down on that left knee as you press forward and down towards that right knee with the right hand. Breathing just 3 deep breaths into the hips. Keep the ankle on top of the knee joint, left shoulder into the mat, last breath. And release slowly, soles of the feet together, arms out wide. 2 options here. You can extend your legs and just come into your final rest, or you're going to take your legs up the wall. So if you have a wall at home, or maybe even a chair, you can put your legs up against the chair so the calves are resting. I like to take legs straight up the wall. You can stay here, you can bring the legs apart if that's something that you enjoy. Really easy way to get an inversion practice is if the legs are up the wall. Your head is below your heart. Reversing the effects of gravity on the body. Taking the last few moments of your practice to observe any benefits, any sensations that are pleasant, unpleasant, maybe neutral. Maybe you don't feel any specific sensation. Notice what it's like to not feel. Just start to slowly deepen your breath. Move the hands and the feet. Roll out ankles and wrists. Everyone just gently roll over to your side. Take a moment and press up to seated. Thank you so much for joining me in our practice today. Opening up the hips and the hamstrings can be difficult, challenging work, but ultimately it's very important for maintaining health and well-being over a long period of time, especially if you're somebody who's very active. If you want more videos like these, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Namaste.